Gonna make it through this darkness. A light would shine someday for me. Yes, it will. I know that you won't leave me in this thing. Something doesn't feel right. Could somebody help me? I heard him say, hush, don't say a word. Gonna get messy if anybody heard. I heard him say, hush, don't say a thing. Think about the trouble you put me in. I heard him say, hush, don't you know who I am? A well-known woman, a respected man. Something doesn't feel right. Could somebody help me? Something doesn't feel right. Could somebody help me? I heard him say, hush, don't say a word. Gonna get messy if anybody heard. I heard him say, hush, don't say a thing. Think about the trouble you'll put me in. I heard him say, hush, don't you know who I am? A well-known woman, a respected man. I'm breaking the silence 'cause I'm under attack. No, I'm breaking the silence and take my life back. No, I'm breaking the silence and take my life back. And take my life back. And take my life back.
My name is Tia Cooper, and I am a lecturer of Communication Studies at the University of the West Indies St. Augustine campus. I also serve as a junior researcher on a different phase of the project with Dr. Sandra Reed and Professor Rhoda Reddock for the sexual cultures and implications for HIV/AIDS. So I would like to again welcome you here this evening, and I'm very happy to see that you have stayed on for our final session to learn about this fabulous media campaign, which we have two fantastic speakers who were very much inspired and very much the drivers behind the campaign, so that you can ask them questions. As you will learn from the media campaign is multifaceted and far-reaching to attend to various target audiences. Some of the media outlets that were used in this campaign include television, newspapers, documentary film, social media such as Facebook, which is quite popular, particularly among adolescents and young adults. I would suppose everyone has a Facebook page. Webisodes, print, posters, handbills, leaflets, and through merchandising. And one of the most significant ones that we all recognize is the bear with the plaster, the blue bear with the plaster, which helps brand the campaign. So when you see this, you associate it with the Breaking the Silence campaign. So that was also very fabulous. I'm going to quickly introduce our first speaker, Ms. Kathryn Chan. Kathryn is an installation artist and has served as a research assistant for the Institute of Gender and Development Studies for approximately 3 years. Born in Trinidad, Kathryn studied in New York at Parsons School of Design and Carnegie Mellon University during the 1980s. It was at this time during the 1980s in New York, that the explosion of the HIV and AIDS pandemic took place in the United States. And Kathryn was inspired also by the Red Ribbon campaign to address this issue. And as a result, this inspiration from the Red Ribbon campaign influenced some of the strategies and conceptualization for this particular Breaking the Silence campaign. So we will begin with Ms. Kathryn Chan. Welcome,
so I started working at IGDS, and then Tisha popped the question, can you coordinate our media campaign? And I'm like, what is that? I don't know anything about doing a media campaign. So the whole process from the beginning was just working with the team and absorbing every single thing they were doing. I think it was okay for me because I a lot of my life I live as a sort of design thinker. So you're constantly looking at things, how they work, looking at them ethnographically too, and then finding solutions. So that's where we started. I started just absorbing what the team needed and then finding solutions to that. So I looked at, here you go again, I looked at the needs of the team, not only the team, where the communities they were going out to. We decided we needed visibility, even if it was going to be on a quite quiet at the beginning because it was sensitive workshops and it was not a public thing. You still needed visibility within your small, tiny groups of women or young students meeting. And you wanted to create connections, but you need something to bond the connections. And you need people to buy into things, and then you need heroes to take that on. And I'll explain that a little further. So it's all about people energy. That is what it's about. Okay? We created the tools that the team members needed. Maureen and Tracy going out for Coalition Against Domestic Violence and Arts in Action for Creative Arts Center. They needed tools. They were actually kind of astounded, like, how am I going to use that? What am I going to do? I already have so much to do. You know, like, I don't even know how to use this tool. But we worked and we worked on it over a period of time. Visibility, we created the symbol, the blue teddy logo, that everybody now knows quite well in this room. And we connected not only with the team that was going out there and the communities they were working in. You know, and then they're broader people, because you need to connect with that one person, and then that one person connects with the 5 people in that workshop, and then the 5 people in that workshop connect with the people in their village or their community or their school. The buy-in is people adopting the blue teddy, and that was very, very important when we were designing the logo. You needed to design something that people would buy into. And then you needed those really incredible community activists, both men and women out there who took this on, yeah? So the symbol and tagline, I can't tell you this, we went through actually months, and a lot of the process was done by an illustrator called Kenneth Scott. He designed Marshall Montano's book Boy Boy about a couple of years ago. I met him when he did the Crick's calendar. It was an incredible piece of work. And he's done numerous illustrations for like nearly every single musician in Trinidad. A formidable illustrator. But he started off with these great illustrations of children playing in parks and stuff like that. And we ended up studying them and realizing that the only thing we were interested in was the toy that this little girl was holding in her hand. And it was a teddy bear. So we had many versions of teddy bears, as you could see. They were all different shapes and sizes. But I'm an artist, and my work is all very flat. So you will realize that this teddy is very flat. And I like it like that because it's easy for people to do things with it. So I kind of pushed to get it what I wanted. And also I wanted the teddy shape on somebody's chest or T-shirt to look like a ribbon. So the red ribbon, so it echoed the ribbon. And so it is a ribbon, but it's in the form of a teddy. Okay, so the team and the tools. I created all kinds of cards and all kinds of gimmicks, word association cards, all kinds of things, and I threw it in the hands of Maureen and Tracy. Put that in your bag, you know, go with it. And they sometimes wouldn't know what they were going to do with it. But as we went in more and more workshops, teacher, lunchtime seminar, cards, with different kinds of questions. So we have all of this ephemera from this project that we've collected, children's drawings, poems they did on their cards, all kinds of things. It's a really great resource. Rhoda is promising me that maybe we'll get human resources this summer to help me go through all of this. It's an incredible, fabulous collection of photographs and ephemera. Okay? So yeah, we created all kinds of tools. We did arts workshops. The poetry that you heard last night at the opening ceremony was actually done inside of the drawings that children did, where they just lie on the floor. You know how you put your hand on a piece of paper and outline it? Well, we made them do their whole bodies. We made the mothers do themselves. We made the children draw the mothers. We made the brothers draw the sisters. All of that was bonding and connecting. And then they wrote things like how they felt inside the drawings, and they wrote those poems that you heard last night. So I don't really care if the child doesn't remember the tagline right away. My main thing is they have to remember that teddy. If 5 years down the line they really understand what that tagline says, that's great. But they know the teddy. And so, I mean, I had to fight for this because every time somebody saw the thing is, why don't you have the tagline there? But the whole thing is subliminally over 5 to 10, 20 years' time, as long as you have connected with that teddy, if you've drawn it, you've painted it, you've worn it, whatever, somebody gave you as a present, whatever, you're going to understand what that issue is, you know, in time. So, in the beginning, alongside creating the tools, there was a need for resource information. If you're interviewing people on a one-on-one basis and they need to get hotlines and helplines, if you're going into women's groups in villages and whatever, East-West Corridor, Northeast Trinidad, Tobago, whatever, you need cards. So we did series of cards that had the relevant resource information for the different areas. So you've seen them outside, you might have gotten one. If you need more, just tell me, I'll make it happen. Okay, because we want these posters across the entire country. If you feel your area is, I mean, you need a specific one with specific resource information, you know, just communicate with us and we will try to work things out. The handouts actually came more detailed information when we started doing public events and knew we needed to give out information. We also have, as you saw in the hallway in the foyer there, the community signs. We first printed 10 of these. They're up in Maruga, Toco, Cuva, San Fernando. This one in the bottom here is amazing. It's outside the police station in Barrackpore. Our first one was in Aranguez, Mr. Williams. So the community signs were one of the ways that we could get that information out there on a long-term basis, not be too cluttered because of too much billboards, so it's quite discreet. But because we knew people might throw away the posters, they get mashed up in schools, the card for handouts get mashed up, but these signs are printed to last 15 years. And we want them up in prominent places all over the country, anywhere you think you need one. Okay, now to go along with all of this, we had to make it fun for the kids, you know, we wanted them to have fun. And when we first did a set of buttons, they were just swallowed up like hot bread. We did magnets, they took magnets for their parents and grandparents. Everybody in all the communities we were working with, it was just like sweeties, you know. And then we went on to do the lapel pins. All of this, I must say, we started doing 100 t-shirts. We borrowed money from this conference budget, actually. I'm telling you the truth. We did 100 t-shirts, we sold them, we made money, and made 300 t-shirts, and then sold them. We didn't even make a profit. It was just people would give us a donation when we sell them a t-shirt. It was like maybe we made $10 on a t-shirt, but it still helped us to keep a fund going to constantly make more branded items. So now we have all those branded items, buttons, pins, t-shirts. I've gotten the people who make the pins to actually put it on their website, so you can just go online, click on it, go to that company, they have all the artwork, order your pins. You can get the ones that stick at the back or the button, brooch type. And then we wanted to do stickers because I wanted to give all the school children stickers so they could stick it on their lunch kit, school bag, whatever. And we sent out to get this made, and somebody just sent us these and they were donated. So it was, you know, that's how this campaign has been growing. The other thing that I'm embarking on between now and November, which I could explain a little bit more later because it relates to another part of the presentation, is these. Well, they look like reverse stickers. They're on clear adhesive, and they are to put at the bottom of your shop window so that if you have a shop in the mall or you have a business on Frederick Street we want you to have this sign that says, we support Break the Silence, because the more and more and more and more people say they support Break the Silence, that means you're gonna convert another 10 people or another 20 people. Okay? So in November, we went public in a different way. We felt confident. The communities we were working with weren't feeling as, oh gosh, they're going to look at us like we have that problem in our community. All of that was kind of going out the door. People were like, to hell with that. We don't care. We want to let people know we're doing something about this. So we were able to actually stop being so quiet and go very public. So we started doing digital billboards only because people actually said, oh, I'll do that for you. We didn't have to pay for anything. And we went on Facebook. So the Facebook cause was started at the time of the November March, and it was, it grew because of Dion's videos. Dion did a video of that march that basically, I would say it's loaded about 3 or 4 times on Facebook, and it's over 1,000 people who have clicked to look at it. The 2,000 people that's actually on this page is a few days ago, and they're actually across the world, so I can't wait for when Facebook actually lets you know what country these people are from. Okay, the public events and marches. Well, November 20th, which is Universal Children's Day, gives us a great opportunity. I'm contemplating 1st of June, which is supposed to be International Children's Day, but everybody's exhausted. Tisha, I just saw your face. And of course, we always focus a lot of energy on April, because April is Child Abuse Awareness Month. And also, let me tell you the story about the Blue Ribbon. The Blue Ribbon was a mother in the 1980s in America whose grandchild was killed by her son because of child abuse. And she started, the whole ribbon thing started in America. It was the yellow ribbon when people were out in the Gulf War, and then it was the red ribbon campaign for HIV, and then the blue ribbon campaign. This woman tied blue ribbons to her car and drove everywhere with it till people understood this thing, and it got publicity, and it's now grown to be the blue campaign, which is the child abuse campaign. Okay, so Universal Children's Day, the video. And then, when we did that march in November, there were a lot of people who were like, oh my gosh, I'm not going to be here. Oh gosh, you're all doing that in Port of Spain. What is wrong with you all? We have South. Don't forget about us. There's Tobago. And over the period of time between November and I would say Carnival, there were so many community activists who decided that they are taking this on, and we said, okay, we will support you, but we are actually like exhausted, but we'll support you. So it's absolutely brilliant. What they've done is there's a Couva Break the Silence Committee, there's a San Fernando Break the Silence Committee, there's that was their march on the 9th of April. There's a Barrackpore Break the Silence Committee. And this Mokajumbi troop has gone to every single event. Roy and Gloria go to every single event. And there's the Barrackpore group. The Barrackpore march was absolutely amazing. It was, the thing that was amazing about it was when we did the first march in San Fernando, and people were printing banners, they were printing T-shirts, they were getting funders to print stuff. They were making buttons. They did not want to put the word sexual on that button. They couldn't say the line, end child sexual abuse. And by the end of the month, after 4 weekends of everybody being out there every Saturday morning, getting up 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, going there for 7 o'clock in the hot sun, this man in Barrackpore is going down the road, a loudspeaker, end child sexual abuse. It was absolutely brilliant, and there was every age group of person in that march. It was just wonderful. Okay, so social networking, Facebook has played a huge part. I'm still to convince Tisha to spend the $2,000 to pay for the Facebook ad. Because the thing about it is, the Facebook platform is visible by 400,000 people in Trinidad and Tobago. And it's the way that young people communicate. So we need to do that. and it will grow the campaign tremendously. Now, when we did arts workshops and stuff and we were doing Charlottesville, I really wanted to leave something permanent in Charlottesville. You know, I wanted to paint a shop door. I wanted to paint the blackboard by the jetty. I wanted to paint an old boat that was lying around, but nobody wanted to give us anything to paint. And that was, what, 2 years ago, I think? And then I got a phone call from Lorraine Rostad saying, Kathryn, remember 2 years ago we did our wall and 500 people turned up that day to paint their wall. They were giving a prize to an NGO. And she said, we are giving you all that wall this year. And it was just brilliant because, you know, even though you wanted something to happen, like 2 years later this thing happened. And the vision really is that we're going to have these blue and white painted walls across the country. What is it to give up a wall of your business, your residence that's on a main road, or like anywhere you see? If you know of a wall right now, you can call me because I'm ready, I have the paint. Okay, so we did a wall in Woodbrook on the 9th of April. We did another one in Tunapuna the weekend after. We did one in Aruka, thanks to Anna Maria, who I think is here. Yeah. And then we did one in Barrackpore, thanks to Zora, who was here last night. And we're going to be doing Davy. That's a big fun park wall. It's like so huge. I am also begging for a huge wall on the Churchill-Roosevelt Highway, which we are going to do as a professional sign painted thing with the same sign that's going into all the shop glass windows. But on one end of it, we're going to ask community people to paint as well. And of course, we have to go to Tobago at the end of this month. So the walls have been incredible because children love to paint walls. I mean, it's like doing graffiti, but it's legal. We've gotten the permission for you. You know, so they had so much fun, and they took a lot of pride in doing it. And it's amazing. If you go on Facebook, you'll see all the details and all the things that people wrote, poems and drawings that were absolutely moving. Okay, now, so going back to my main point, the main thing is to promote the Teddy. Okay, we have to promote this Teddy logo, especially in the first year, the first 2 years, the first 3 years. Just keep promoting the Teddy. If people don't understand what you're talking about, what is CSA? I don't know what that is. Don't care. Don't worry about it because in a little while, they'll get it. Okay? Now, this is a room at the Nobel Peace Prize, the Nobel Museum in Oslo, and I think we should be doing these things in Trinidad, in every office, in this building, in whatever small space you have, that you can have a little contemplative space. Ask us for blue Teddy, ask us for the Teddy cutouts, and you can do your own little thing. I got a hairdressing salon, one has one in Woodbrook. You know, we have one in the IGDS office. We need them sprouting up everywhere so that people start to be able to speak out, express your thoughts, say something, and tell somebody else about this campaign. Now, one of the main things about this campaign, and you know, I've had so many, it's like divine intervention because so many people have come into my life because of this campaign. And one of the key things of all of this is that this has to be driven by children. It has to be driven by children. So they love the blue Teddy, and we're going to go with these. So we are doing things that they will love. We tried to do the kites in Charlottesville. We didn't have wind, but we still, every child in the village had a kite, and they flew it all week long, you know. When we went to Barrackpore, Zora called me on Sunday morning. She said, Kathryn, those children didn't go home with those kites until it got dark. Now, all of that is they're absorbing that blue Teddy. They're connecting to it. They are the next generation of parents. They are going to know about this issue. And we have dreams. We have to have dreams, or else you can't make anything happen. So we want to have an event. I wanted to do it for this conference where we will let off these blue Teddy lanterns. We have somebody working on how to get it made. And I want to see big, huge blue Teddy sculptures. You know, Anna Maria has a contact for cut-offs from blue rubber slippers, and, you know, we have to collect those blue bottles, those blue plastic bottles. I don't mind starting to collect them. If you have them, you could bring them to IGDS. My boss might kill me, but I'll find a way. Okay? And then, okay, so this is only our work like out there in a very low technology way, but we have Dion on the other hand who's like doing all this other work. And there's his animation, which is not coming up on the screen because it's done on a Mac and this is a PC. So maybe he can play it for you afterwards. Is it just taking time or? I wanted to show the animation. I had embedded it in the PowerPoint because I want somebody to take it on board and put it on Movie Town screens. So it's, oh, it's there, great. So, I mean, it's a very short thing. It can be shown before every cinema show. Oh no, that's not the animation. Oh, sorry, okay. The teddy bear is a universal symbol, and people immediately see a teddy bear and they have some notion of love and care. It's also genderless, it's not male or female. And then when they see the plaster on the teddy bear, they realize that there's something wrong, and then the plaster then leads to another thought that it offers healing and hope. So that when you see somebody else with it, you know that they also care about that issue, and they also may be doing something about it. Felt that we wanted to become, this 20 years, 50 years from now, the symbol of child abuse, and more specifically child sexual abuse in Trinidad and Tobago, and even in the region. We were thinking in a broad way of a campaign that could really have long-term value.
That has had a really significant impact, we hope, on reducing the stigma. Because here you now have a tangible, empathic symbol to identify with.
So we just hope that it seeps into the consciousness of people. It's amazing what editing can do. If you see the raw footage, you'll die. Dion, thank you. That's amazing. So that is one of Dion's webisodes. Dion actually came to us and said, we can do these webisodes. So he'll tell you a little bit more of the themes on the thing, but it's where we can actually give these sound bites of information online, on Facebook or whatever online platforms are really great tools for teachers. Okay, so we also have a radio soap opera that I will appeal to people, if you know anybody who can play this on air. We intended it to be 10-minute episodes. There's 7 of them, and there would be a talk show afterwards, hopefully to answer questions that the public call in and ask. And then there will be the website. On that website, which will hopefully be up and running soon, it will have everything. It will be the whole portfolio of information that we can put out there, and all the tools you can be able to download. amazingly, Indira from Aranguez was talking to me just before lunch saying, you know, I want that teddy bear. I want to use that dimensional teddy bear as a tool in my school. So we had made a teddy bear and we used it on a lot of arts in action workshops. And we have an idea to, you know, reproduce it. So I hope that on that website there will be a toolbox for teachers and community workers. And how can this campaign live on? It's through you. We have to get more people involved. We need to get businesses involved. I want a snack company in Trinidad who can put that hotline number on every packet so that every child, if they're in Erin or Charlottesville or wherever you are, they can go to that shop and get that hotline number at the time that they need it. I need a teddy toy company. I don't need a teddy boy, sorry. And we had so many trials and tribulations with the kites. We had so many different people make different kites. We had paper kites, plastic kites, all kinds of kites, and we want 1,000 kites because we did not make a dent on the amount of people that were flying kites in the savannah on Easter weekend. So we are going to the savannah Easter weekend next year with 1,000 kites, which Nikita's promised to help me with. Now, actually, all of that is up to what's happened up in April. But we have things in store. We have this ambient advertising. The business windows, the reason I want that sticker in the business windows is because between now and November 20th this year, Universal Children's Day, we're going to do some ambient advertising. We have now with us, who you'll see performing tomorrow at the closing ceremony, 2 children activists at 9 and 11 years old, and a bunch of children activists from San Fernando. And they made hundreds of placards for marches, and they're all going to be here tomorrow, but also they're going to participate in silent theatrical pieces in shop windows, in malls. It's quiet advertising where you can just, people like stop and look. It's kind of performance art we used to do in New York in the 80s, but like, what are they doing? What is that about? So that's something we have in store. Also, there have been many, many recordings. The theme music, which you just heard, the soap opera has another song. Black Sage was inspired and wrote a song. He's supposed to be coming tomorrow to sing it. And a group of singers have quietly, I'm not supposed to tell anybody, but it's hard not to, are making a song between now, and these are people who are very well known. So we need to get the really well known, what do you call, celebrities. I want to get not only musician celebrities on board, I want to get visual artist celebrities on board, like Peter Minshall to do a facade of a building on Frederick Street and things like that. So it's there are possibilities. Okay, so this whole thing has to end, not to end, but to start and to continue and to be driven by children's voices. There's one of the placards. This little girl, I mean, she is actually a victim of child abuse, and it was just amazing to see her connecting with people that day, and she just was in a ball of joy when she got her kite. You know, the Mocha Jumbos who have traveled with us everywhere, and the children from Charlottesville who read the poetry yesterday. Maureen is there. And this is the guy who made all the kites in the back. And then we have the 2 children I mentioned earlier who are going to take on this campaign. Imagine that. We have 2 children who volunteered to take on this campaign and take it to schools, and we're going to provide them with stickers and card handouts that they can go and give to all the children in these schools. So they've already gone to temples and stuff doing talks about child sexual abuse, and they're going to continue. They actually are the people who are responsible for the circles with the articles written in the center. So they probably know more than me, to be honest. So businesses, sponsors, activists, radio stations, TV stations to play the soap opera, to get our stuff on air, please come forward. The blue teddy has to take on a life of its own so I could get back my life. So in 5 years' time, I want to be sitting in front of the television and picking up the newspaper, and I'm seeing the blue teddy everywhere. I know people are doing things with it, and I have let it go, and it's lived. Spread the word, right?
And as you can see, the media campaign is multifaceted. So it's going in many different directions, not just extends beyond the traditional media of radio and television. So it's a fabulous and very dynamic campaign. I would now like to introduce Dion Bucco. Okay. Dion is a producer and owner of Free Spirit Media that is popularly known for the film The Siege, about the 1990 coup in Trinidad and Tobago. He is an experienced media producer, having been in this field approximately 20 years. Dion has worked on this project for about 3 years and has created webisodes, documentaries, songs, and music videos that discuss issues and concerns of incest, child sexual abuse, and HIV. Dion is also a recent graduate of the first cohort of the UWI film program. Let's welcome Dion.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I'll probably be the shortest presentation that you have had for the day. I suffer from the inherent shyness of anybody who's accustomed to being behind a camera suddenly pushed to the front of one. As a producer, I would spend 10 minutes speaking to people I put in front of a camera, telling them how well they look to get them comfortable so that they'll forget that they're in front of the camera. Can someone do that for me now?
You're looking fabulous, Dion.
Okay, about 3 years ago, I met with the team at IGDS who had a fabulous idea for a 1-year project on Break the Silence that would involve me capturing footage to do 2 videos. One would be just on the process, and the other one would be on award ceremonies. That was the initial idea. We have come a very, very long way from that, to the point where I'm standing here now speaking to you. Over the course of the 3 years, there's been a team of 8 persons who have worked from Free Spirit Media on this campaign, filming in Tobago, Aranjuez, Toco. All right. The normal process for doing a production of this nature, or doing any production, is that you go into it with an idea of exactly what it is you want to do or what you want to project at the end of it. This project kind of broke all the rules, simply because we had no idea how we would be received because of the sensitive nature of the topic, the subject. How would people react to the cameras? There were some people who did not want to be on camera. We had certain issues with even some of the service providers who felt that the presence of the camera was creating a less than ideal situation for people to be as open as they wanted to be. So the net result was that a lot of the early stuff could not be documented as we fought to work out what was the best way to go about doing this project. We also had to be sensitive to the fact that we were most likely filming people who would have been through this situation and would not necessarily want their lives and their stories broadcast in the public domain. So shooting had to be done with care. We would go into situations where people will come up and tell us, this particular child has had an issue, so please do not put them on film. So we had to agree to that. So a certain degree of trust had to be built up with my team and had to be upheld by myself when I'm putting any of these pieces together. Okay, the components of this. All right, the documentary. Those of you here this morning would have seen the first half of the documentary. It's going to be about 52 minutes long, which documents the process over the last 3 years. I can tell you it was incredibly difficult to do. the script writer for it had to sift through all of the material we had accumulated over 3 years, which is over 50 tapes and lots of interviews, to tell this story. And I remember her saying to me how affected she was by the process of sifting through all of this material. I myself was affected by the process of having to put it together. Now, I became committed to this project because, well, I have a 6-year-old daughter who I nearly lost to meningitis. So it kind of became very personal for me working on this project and working alongside Kathryn and Tisha to get things done. I can't remember exactly when I started volunteering, but it happened. Right? We had to come up with a theme for the project. We wanted to have something that, if people hear it enough, that it will kind of sink in. You'll find yourself humming along to the song, and it will become synonymous with the campaign, just as the Blue Teddy Bear has become synonymous with the campaign. The song that you heard was written by myself and Cherise Knox, who is also the singer. And shortly after writing and singing the song, she got a gig to tour Singapore. So I'm still waiting for my phone call. But it was really difficult to try and write a song that will address issues that you have to see, but nobody wants to hear. So when we got around, I guess, to launching the song, maybe you could listen to the lyrics and see if we have done our job properly. The webisodes. The idea behind the webisodes were to take advantage of the new media that's available to everyone now. You have Facebook, you have Twitter, you have YouTube, you have all sorts of online sites where you can post up the videos. And this has allowed the Break the Silence campaign to go beyond the boundaries of Trinidad and Tobago and to go globally. Whereas Facebook does not yet allow you to see who is or where the people are from. On YouTube, when you go on YouTube, you could get an indication of where people are viewing the video, and we can see hits from all around the world where people are connecting and sharing and forwarding the video and sound onto other people. Yeah, so that's it, basically. I will welcome any questions, but I am not a public speaker. So thank you.
I will now open the floor up for questions, comments, questions, suggestions, recommendations. About the branding of the Blue Teddy, and again explain why the tagline wasn't as significant as the Teddy itself, and how, particularly for a marketing purpose, how the Teddy can have a lifetime beyond just the moment of today.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if I could answer that as well as the person I wanted to be here to answer that, John Foon, who was also responsible for the What's Your Position campaign. I just think a symbol goes a long way. The image is powerful. You know, people constantly ask me the plaster on the heart, they actually see it. So I don't know if, I mean, you all maybe on your comment cards for this session, you could let us know, did you see the plaster on the heart? Did you have any ideas what it meant? You know, please give us feedback, because that's how we work. Everything we do is driven by the feedback. So I would like to know from you. I mean, I think that, you know, because of the issues being so taboo, well, from when we started, I knew that I could connect with people on the image. And when once you took that first step, then it would be easy for them to you know, identify with the issues. But you need something, you need a way of getting into people. You need a way in. And that the image was the way in, something very universal, a teddy bear. It has no gender. And, you know, it's something cuddly. And then the plaster, I forgot to mention that the plaster on its heart is really the concept it came from Elspeth Duncan, who is a photographer who worked with us documenting the whole campaign, the whole project, research project. I mean, she's kind of that kind of thinker, and that's her concept. So I think the image is what people connect to first. But in 5 years' time, you will be telling everybody what that image means. But it doesn't have to happen at the same time. You know, everybody's different. So, yeah, I don't know if that answers the question.
Yes.
Excellent job. I think you've done an amazing job and gone beyond Rhoda's sort of out there. You have beaten her, actually. 2 questions. One is the teddy legally registered and protected so that no one else can steal the symbol?
Well, actually, that's a good question.
And secondly, as another advice, in terms of advertising, all the Caribbean airlines have magazines that we read and we sit and travel. That's another place to target in terms of when people are traveling for long hours. We normally read those magazines that's in front of us. And the duty-free shopping areas of airports is also a good place, I think.
Right. Excellent.
No, I think, no. And
Yeah.
also to the environmental shopping bags that we use now because we're pushing more into the issue of the environment, and we're moving away from plastic bags to having our own market bags, etc. If we can also have it on that too, because I think these are also places in which I think we'll meet different audiences, different social classes, and it's about bringing it to all communities in ways that has a nice meaning.
Yeah.
In terms of using, you mentioned the mask designer,
Minshall.
Minshall. It'd be nice to see if he can get the Jean Pierre Complex wall. It used to be called the Jean, what's it called now? It's still the Jean Pierre? Yeah. Yeah, and the stadium. Those are places to when we have sporting events, major sporting events, to put it up in. Thank you so much.
Okay. So in terms of the copyright question, this is something I actually thought about a lot, and that's why I followed the Red Ribbon campaign. I mean, I still have to think about it more because there are all sorts of angles to look at it, but the Red Ribbon campaign, when they did it, they did huge pieces of artwork in New York City, all on buildings and all different sizes of artwork, and the whole thing was designed so that it was copyright. If you actually go on the internet and look it up, it was specifically in the whole thing was, this is copyright free for anybody to use it for this cause. And I wanted this campaign to be like that, because I want people to be able to use it and feel free to use it. I don't want like restrictions. You have to call me to find out if you could use it and sign all these forms. We do have an agreement form which all community activists have signed, but it was mainly so that they would put that tagline and would kind of acknowledge that we wanted this to be about child sexual abuse. It is, I think, in 20 years' time going to be about child sexual abuse and child abuse. I don't know if I have the right to say that, but the public and the democracy of the world will do what its work. But basically, yeah, we want it to be recognized for child sexual abuse. It is a bit touchy. We don't know. I mean, these pins were made in China. I'm sure the Chinese might be making more blue teddy pins, but I actually don't care, because if they make more blue teddy pins and they have 50,000 or 5 million blue teddy pins out there, they're doing work for us. What we have to do is make sure that online and everywhere there's a connection to the origins of this blue teddy. So we have to get the stuff online fast. Dion and I have a lot of work to do. The website has to go up, and the origins of the blue teddy. Rhoda will kill me because she's always wanted to have a launch of the blue teddy here so that it was really official and people recognize that it came from Trinidad. And in a way, this media thing right now is our launch to me, because it's public, it's being documented. Mm-hmm.
Registering is important insofar that you can determine how it's used,
Okay.
and it's not misappropriated for other forms of representation.
Okay. That's fantastic. Okay.
So you don't get legally embroiled
All right.
in other things that can bring you down.
Can you help us with that?
Well, there you go.
No, I'm serious. We have very little human resources. As you can imagine, I am the media campaign. Huh?
You have the law school right here.
The law, that's true, that's true. That's a good idea.
Secondly, you can also get you can raise funds from it.
Yeah.
Literally by saying to people, if you want to use this, then in exchange a donation of X amount of dollars for us to promote education. In other words, you can also determine the financial viability of it when people ask you to use it for whatever purposes they want to do it for in terms of raising funds. Then you can get a percentage from them in return.
Yeah.
And thirdly, if you don't do that, I think then you can run the risk of dealing legal issues along the line.
Okay, yeah, I understand.
Somebody can,
I mean, I must say that I think, you know, about a year ago, UNICEF and IGDS were trying to sit down to form a subcommittee. The project, you know, Tisha was, and Milan kept talking about forming a subcommittee for the media campaign. And it didn't quite come together then. We were still things. So maybe your information is making us head in that direction. We do have to sit down after this conference.
and legally launch it.
Okay.
It's okay.
Okay.
We'll take this final comment or question.
Well, I just wanted to congratulate you on the media blitz that you've done, and it's a very neat and well-coordinated, uniform presentation of the symbol. I just want to urge you as a teacher that it doesn't become a top-down symbol, so that one of the things is that it is an alien symbol. A lot of children don't have a teddy bear or don't know what it is. You know, that connection to a teddy bear does not exist. And the plaster for healing pain. So my suggestion is that you try to push the symbol at our level, at the ground level, so that it becomes part of people. The blue is a little alien to it because it's a jumbie blue. And, you know, for some people, blue is an issue. So, but you can make it into something that people accept, you know, and pick up on. And I would want to suggest that you put it on copybooks and things that little children use, because many people have never been in a plane, they have never even been in a bus sometimes. They just walk to school, come back home. The victims of sexual abuse are usually locked into a rural or urban prison, literally, so that if you can find a way to get that symbol into those levels first, as well as above, so that it's a double-pronged approach.
Yeah.
Okay? Otherwise, sexual abuse will never end.
Yeah.
It won't be immediate. We will be always talking about next 10 years.
I mean, we are trying
years.
to do a lot of what you're
saying. And I realize you all want to be immediate.
I mean, we've tried to do many things that we haven't had the money to do. We had many quotations on doing copybooks. We wanted to find a sponsor to do that. I have been recently talking to Gary Aboud about doing, you know, bringing down bags that suit us, our color. You know, we want to do the thing that what your position did on the side of the telephone directory, and we want to put it on the front page of every Guardian newspaper at the bottom, but we need people to come forward and support us.
To me, it has really been like a grassroots mobilization, because I want to say that I've only been to one of those marches. I don't know the people. They just took it upon themselves. They have been getting sponsors from where they work. In Barcode, there was this mic man, the traditional mic man who drives around and announces the dead. You know, he was in charge of that. You know, people donated doubles. You know, it was really a grassroots thing. Yes. So I think that I'm not saying it's total. We still have a lot of work to do. But these community committees have really taken on a life that is beyond us. And I think at least that shows that it has touched some sort of connection with people at community levels.
I'd like to add that you can think of producing blue umbrellas and blue caps, which will be of more among the youngsters.
All right. One, I would like to commend him, named Dion. Okay, for his splendid job. It's just that I think there's a little recommendation as being a teacher. What would be nice, the teddy, if some animation could be done with it, in the sense that you have the plain blue teddy and some form of abuse, whichever way you might think with the media, to show that an abuse was done and then somebody is counseling and then put the plaster on it. So it will kind of bring the actual effect home to the children, because where I am is dealing with little children. And another thing is probably we together collectively can make a book. Get to the ministry and get, get permission from the ministry to use the family life education syllabus, and where sex education is concerned, make a form, a little booklet where we could probably send to the ministry to get into the schools to actually be part of the curriculum.
Okay.
That's a very good idea.
Yeah. Actually, a student at UE who was a student of animation made an animation, but she hasn't finished it yet. But that is, I know what you're talking about, more illustrative and real, right? And in terms of the book, actually, people have come forward with children's stories they've written and actually given me a copy to see how we could incorporate.
It could go into the schools, because all schools have a values, moral education, and then family education is actually slotted into the curriculum, the weekly timetable. So if they get material, because most teachers shy away from teaching sex education or anything to do with it because of the taboo nature. But if they get material that makes it not so intimidating, they will use it. And
I'm seeing the start of a teacher break the silence committee.
No, collectively,
no, it would be great.
We can do it and send it to the schools, and then as teachers, collectively, I'm talking on teachers' behalf here, we would have something in the classroom to use for the children and get the blue teddy across to them, and it will grow.
Well, thank you very much for your participation and your recommendations and suggestions. I want to again remind you to fill out the evaluation card for tomorrow, and we will see you tomorrow bright and early at 9 a.m. for the research findings and recommendations session. Thank you and have a safe journey home.
A light would shine someday for me, yes it will. I know that you won't leave me in this thing. Something doesn't feel right. Could somebody help me? I heard him say, hush, don't say a word. Gonna get messy if anybody heard. I heard him say, hush, don't say a thing. Think about the trouble you put me in. I heard him say, hush, don't you know who I am? A well-known woman, a respected man. Something doesn't feel right. Could somebody help me? Something doesn't feel right. Could somebody help me? I heard him say, hush, don't say a word. Gonna get messy if anybody heard. I heard him say, hush, don't say a thing. Think about the trouble you'll put me in. I heard him say, hush, don't you know who I am? A well-known woman, a respected man. I'm breaking the silence 'cause I'm under attack. No, I'm breaking the silence and take my life back. No, I'm breaking the silence and take my life back. And take my life back.